Hello, it's 12 o'clock, which means it's another edition of Mufasa's live book reading at noon. Welcome, everyone who is going to be participating today and hearing us read from Bruce D. Schneider's Energy Leadership book, and also everyone who's going to be watching in the replay. I hope you had a fantastic afternoon yesterday, and I mean, we're already in Thursday. Someone once said to me that a Thursday is like a pre-Friday. So happy pre-Friday, and I hope you've been keeping absolutely well. Today we're going to be reading from chapter 6, and yeah, it's going to be exciting. We're going to be getting into the first level, which is energy level 1. I actually got myself an energetic self-perception, the eye charts that we refer to in the book, and so that I can also refer to it so the story makes a lot more sense. I would suggest that you also download that eye chart. I have also linked it in today's description, so download it so we can reference with it together, and also it will help to understand the story and to understand yourself. So level 1 is a victim level, right? Its core feeling and emotion is apathy, and its action is lethargy. Action or result is lethargy, and it's got a low energy frequency. Um, People who are at this level 1 have no faith. They're unconscious. They're needing, and there's ego present as well. I did talk about a victim mindset. So the mindset, right, the core thought is the victimization. So we're going to be getting into that in chapter 6. I also wanted to just bring it back to yesterday's chapter, chapter 5, which is also pretty interesting. We got into how energy, right, is what matters in the end, right? All that matters is energy. So once I was actually done reading the chapter, because I do that so we can have a better understanding of how the story is progressing. So what happened is Richard had a meeting, right, with his staff. That is something that we got into yesterday's video. So if you haven't watched it, definitely tap into that energy frequency. And Richard had a meeting with his staff, which was fantastic. Didn't started off a bit rocky, but you know, with energy, it transforms, right, and it shifts, and that's something that happened in the meeting. And he felt a sense of release, and so did his staff. So that was just indicating energy shifting. And in the rest of the chapter, which I thought I'd actually want to read to you today, is the spoke a little bit more about the difference between a catabolic leader and an anabolic leader, which you'll also see is something that I typed in the description of today's live, right? So I wanted to read the difference between an anabolic and a catabolic leader, and then ask the question, which are you, and then also, so you just get a little bit of some engagement from you as well. So a catabolic leader manages, right? They control by pushing and pulling. They delegate, then point out and blame. They give information without justification or buy-in. They self-assess. They work in crisis mode, emotionally disconnected. They use left brain analysis. They focus on problems and take advantage of stuff. Whereas an anabolic leader leads. They encourage others to take their own steps. They project shares, which they become part of the plan. They they share detailed information and get feedback and buy-in, right? They utilize others' feedback. They plan and develop. They're future focused. They utilize their emotional intelligence. They use whole brain thinking. They see only opportunities and they see humans as true resources. So I devised a poll here that I'd like for us to answer. So let me know, are you a catabolic or are you an anabolic leader? And for me, what it feels like is that an anabolic leader creates, whereas a catabolic leader destroys. So choose which one you are. Okay, let's get into chapter 6. Let me set my timer for 10 minutes. So we have a set timer. Let me bring it closer so I can see. Time for a corporate shock treatment. Level 1. The victim mentality may be the last uncomplicated thing about life in America. Anna Quindler, writer. Although he experienced the beginnings of an energetic transformation, Richard still harbored a lot of energy 1. That meant the information I gave him next was sure to be hard to swallow. Level 1 leaders work in crisis mode. I told him they're always dealing with problems because that's what draws their attention most of the time. When people's energy resonates with problems, they attract and are focused on what they don't want. You have the choice to see anything you wish. You can direct your attention to the beautiful rose or the thorns on the stem beneath. We can say that the level 1 leader completely misses the flower, the solutions. Instead, the energy 1 leader perceives only the problems that stem from victim consciousness. As I reviewed this information, Richard started to look dejected. It sounds like you're talking about me, Richard moaned. It's about all level 1 leaders, Richard. Richard had opened the door for me to be direct. But please do take what I'm saying personally, I clarified. Looking him straight in the eye, I said, it's time to cut the crap. You need to start leading and living to your potential. With my deliberate change in tactics, Richard didn't quite know how to respond. This was the first time I'd gotten in his face. He knew I was right though. He recognized that this was part of why he'd hired me. He always knew it was now or never. While he was thinking, I decided to shake him up further. Now that I'm on the subject, I want to point out that you've lost control of your company. We've talked around this before about how Don and Tanya's energy has become so influential. Maybe they're in charge, and maybe not. I don't know who runs this company right now, but it's not you. As you've already acknowledged, people are fighting, employees are often absent, and victims are laying everywhere. If you're not going to stand up and take the lead, there's no hope for this company. I wonder whether you're going to continue to scratch your way to survival or if you're ready to strive for greatness. I paused but didn't expect him to answer. Because greatness won't be achieved by tiptoeing around, but instead by taking some bold leaps of faith. We're all waiting for your next move to see what kind of leader you really are. I already have a sense about who you are and what you can do. My question is, do you? Richard was staring me down, obviously waging some kind of internal argument. In quick succession, his eyes widened with shock and perhaps shame, then narrowed with irritation. Then, more slowly, I could see resolve. Richard was coming to the conclusion now that I was either arguing with him or insulting him, but speaking directly to the part of him that resonated with victim energy. It wasn't long before I could tell he also decided that this part of him deserved a good talking to and maybe a swift kick in the backside. When he spoke, it was obvious. He agreed with me that he was much greater than he'd performed so far. The hardline approach worked. Yes, Richard said, sitting up straight, voice pitched low and resolute. He declared, I'm ready. I get it. I've been acting like someone I'm not, like someone who shies away from anything that's difficult, but that's not who I am. I want you to know right now that I'm committed to changing the way I appear as a leader. I want to appear as a man who cares about his company and will do what's necessary to make the needed changes. I was glad to hear Richard stand up for himself because that would help remove some of the level 1 energy. I described level 1 leaders as disconnected emotionally, as if they check their souls at the door or become robots. They wonder why no one respects them, and they feel completely misunderstood. And of course they are misunderstood. How can you be understood if you're disconnected not only from other people, but from you, but from your very essence too? What's left for others to see? Some level 1 leaders are numb. Others feel emotion but are afraid to show it. They succumb to the limiting belief that emotions make them look weak, when the opposite is true. Energetically, employees see and feel weakness when they don't see emotion. Without emotion, level 1 leaders have no passion or commitment to the company's mission. Often they don't even remember it. They have no real plan for where they're going because they're always reacting to crisis. Their communication skills are poor to non-existent, as as is their ability to truly inspire and motivate others. Finally, as if that weren't enough, I let him know that at the very lowest resonating level of energy, level 1 leaders blame themselves for anything negative that has happened in the company previously, continually focusing on the past and beat themselves up over current setbacks. Oh my God, Richard said, laughing yet seemingly genuinely relieved. I'm glad I said I'd change before you rattled off the rest of it. It's so depressing. Everything about him remained strong, though, including his posture, volume, tone, and gaze. It's time for your second test, I told Richard. Wait, he exclaimed. I missed the first one. Did you? I asked, smiling. I informed him that he already passed the first test. Functioning at level 1, he saw himself as a victim, refusing to face reality or take the action necessary to improve himself or his company. I then helped him move to level 2, the level of conflict, by challenging him. My attack was intended to get him to defend himself by agreeing to take action. He demonstrated level 2 energy. He sent a message to himself and me that he was worth fighting for. I knew I had it in me, Richard. Richard was enjoying his profound focus. Seriously, I had no idea you were working directly on my energy level. So I guess that when I'm dealing with level 1 people, my job is to move them to a place where they're willing to fight for themselves. You've got it, I said, giving Richard a high five. Nearly all people need to shift one level at a time. Later, I'm going to offer you an assignment that will help you jump into the higher levels without advancing one level at a time, which I think you'll find intriguing. But when you're helping someone else, it usually needs to be one level at a time. Now that you have a sense of how level 1 affects people, plus at least one idea about how to begin to shift from level 1 to 2, how would you feel about putting your new ideas into practice? Time to get personal. Richard told me he was ready for the next step. Excellent. All that was left was for me to emphasize how important it is to deal directly with employees who resonate around level 1 and to explain how to do it. I pointed out how troublesome they are. They're unproductive and bring down everyone else's energy. They're like a losing stock in a portfolio. You have a bunch of winners, but one stock will lower the total gain. For any person at level 1, the leader must decide whether the individual is in a situational or chronic state, as I described earlier. This means assessing whether the employee's energy level is being prompted by the leader, the company, or another outside factor, or if it's intrinsic and chronic. If it's chronic, letting the person go may be the best idea. The leader must decide whether to move or remove such individuals, and it has to be one or the other. And that concludes our reading today. So I hope you enjoyed today's reading and that in it we got an understanding of an anabolic leader and a catabolic leader, but we spoke solely about a catabolic leader, and that it can bring down everyone else in an organization. Remember, we are all part of an organization, whether it is in our careers, where we work, businesses, our homes, as long as there's another person involved, then it means you are straight in it in an organization. So remember to share this video with everyone in your organization so you can help move each other from level 1, which is a victimization level, to level 2, where you're actually seeing that you're worthy, right? Worthy of something greater. Then we'll shift all the way up to level 7, right? And transcend together. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I hope that you did choose that today you want to be an anabolic leader and not a catabolic leader. So you're focusing um, all your energy at being an anabolic leader. So just to leave on a great note, let me remind you what an anabolic leader is. An anabolic leader leads, they encourage others to take their own steps. So take your own step today. They project shares. They become part of the plan, okay? They share detailed information and get feedback and buy-in. They utilize others' feedback. They plan and develop, right? They're future focused. They use whole brain thinking. They see only opportunities and they see true human resource. Thank you so much for attending today's read. Tomorrow we are going to be reading chapter 7, and we're going to be talking about level 2, energy level 2. And tomorrow's title is Without Fear, What Could You Do? So start thinking about that, and I'll leave it in a poll as well for tomorrow. So, okay, goodbye. Enjoy the rest of your day.